I have to get right in your face and snap my fingers to let you know how worthy and lovable you are, it's exactly what I'm gonna do. What's up, beautiful? It's Lisa Roulette, and I'm so happy to be here with you. We're going to talk about 3 things that you need to know about self-worth and really starting to love who you are. I want to start by thanking you for your patience because I am filming with COVID today. Yes, that nasty virus got me, so I appreciate your patience. I'm a little nasal, a little short of breath, but I am not going to let that thing get me down and prevent me from being of service to you. So thanks for your patience. Now, if you are struggling with self-worth and self-love, then you're probably struggling in a couple of areas of life. Number 1, your overall physical health and well-being. You probably don't have a whole lot of energy, and you probably have those slumped shoulders, that tunnel vision looking down like, ugh, life sort of sucks. Things aren't working out for me. But with these 3 things that I'm going to give you today, you're going to be able to start to make a lot of progress there. You're also probably suffering in your relationships because remember, as within, so without. So if we're not thinking that we're super duper worthy and we're not loving ourselves in the way that we're meant to be loved, it's going to be very hard for another person to treat us at the level of worth that we actually deserve and to love us in a way that we really want to be loved. You could also be struggling in your finances because if you don't feel worthy, then you're probably not receiving the abundance that is rightfully yours. So let's dive in and talk about the top 3 things you need to know about building self-worth and learning how to love who you are. Number 1, learning how to build self-worth and really beginning to love who you are is a lot about knowledge of self or getting to know yourself. Now, I don't mean getting to know yourself in the roles that you play. And by roles, I mean being a mother or a father or a doctor, a lawyer, a student. These are just very temporary roles that we play in each lifetime. And even though they can be very important, more importantly is that you're a soul on a journey to expand. Every single one of us are on the exact same journey, and that is to expand our awareness so that we can remember who we really are. Who are we? We are healers and creators of our life experience. Now, you may have an individual soul purpose, but each of us is on the same journey to expand, to remember, and to return to our powers to both heal and create. When we bring that into our awareness, we stop worrying so much about the temporary physical experience. We stop worrying about other people's labels and judgments. We stop forming labels and judgments and criticizing ourselves because we realize there is nothing more important than our expansion. The more you get to know yourself as a soul having a journey, the more likely you are to build self-worth because again, there is nothing more important than your expansion. Number 2, as you remember that you are a soul on a very precious journey to expand, and these temporary roles that you play aren't nearly as significant as that very important expansion, the next thing that you're going to want to do is really harness the powers of healing and creating, really stepping into those roles as both healer and creator of your life experience. Now, to clarify, you are not the creator of your reality. You are the creator of your experience inside of a much larger co-created reality. You can influence your reality very heavily, but you are more so the creator of your experience inside of your reality. And so as a healer, you want to start to look at your experiences so far and ask yourself, are they wounded? Now, a lot of people that will watch this channel will have wounded experiences. I know I certainly have. And if you're struggling with self-worth and still learning to love yourself, then you probably have some wounded experiences as well. But the thing about our wounds is that they're not always bad. In fact, they are rich with wisdom that can give us so much information about our soul's journey and the vital lessons that our soul needs to learn in order to expand. Now, I know that's hard to accept. The first time I heard someone tell me that things happen for us and not to us, I nearly spit in their face. However, once I accepted it as my truth, I started to understand so much of my experiences and why I had to experience certain wounds to get to where I am in my expansion along my soul's journey. Again, very hard to accept, but the more you watch this channel, I think the more you'll open up to that idea if you haven't already. So in practicing the powers of healing and creating, what we want to do is we want to ask, is there something in my experience? Is there a trauma or a drama in my experience that has a message, lesson, and gift? Let me give you a personal example so you know how it works. Years ago, I fell in love with a narcissist, or at least I think I fell in love with a narcissist. If you've ever been with a narcissist, you know the gaslighting is like insane. I don't even really know if I was ever in love with him, but at the time I thought I was in love with him, and it was a very painful, toxic, and abusive relationship. Healing from that was one of my greatest feats, because where I ended up in the end, when he was finally out of my life, was in a place of extreme shame, a lot of remorse, tremendous regret, and talk about no self-worth. Holy cow, it was a really dark place. But along my healing journey, as I started to ask myself intelligent questions, I asked myself, why did I go through that? Why did I have to go through that? Why would my soul enter into such a painful situation and painful experience? What is the message, the lesson, and the gift from that? Now, I know that sounds crazy, but what I found was that I needed to feel what it was like to be unlovable so that I could learn how to love myself. And that, my friend, was one of the most profound lessons I have ever received along my healing journey. And it has catapulted me into learning not only how to build self-worth, but tremendous levels of self-love. So if you do have wounded experiences, try to surrender to them and ask yourself intelligent questions like, what is this telling me? What is the pain, the remorse, the grief, the regret, the shame, the confusion, or the dis-ease telling me about this experience? And once you get the answer, the healing kicks in. And as the healing kicks in, the expansion begins. So as the expansion begins, you start to realize that this idea that you're not worthy is not what's important. The only thing that is important is your expansion. And so this temporary role that you're playing as an unworthy individual or someone who doesn't know how to love themselves, it falls off. It starts to fall away because you start to really climb in your awareness, and your awareness gets bigger and bigger and wider, and you see there's so much more than thinking that you're unworthy or that you're not lovable, because both are bullshit. Number 3, as the idea that you are unworthy or unlovable in some way falls out of your awareness because you are actively participating in the roles of healer and creator of your life experience, in order to expand that awareness, you're going to have to forgive. And I know that sucks. It's one of the hardest things in the world, but forgiveness is not for your offender. It's for you. And if you haven't already watched my video on forgiveness, please definitely check it out after this one. Forgiveness is one of the most vital parts of our soul's journey. We have to be able to let go. We need our freedom to expand. And if you're holding grudges in your awareness, or a lot of remorse, regret, and shame about certain events, situations, circumstances, and people of your past, it's going to be very hard for you to move forward. And moving forward is necessary to expand. It's also necessary to be able to increase and practice your powers of healing and creating. So learn how to forgive. It is for you, not for your offender. So let's do a quick review to make double, triple sure that you're totally getting what I'm putting down, and you'll be able to implement this so that you can start building that self-worth. Number 1, your expansion. Nothing more important. Nothing more important than your soul's journey to expand. There is no physical, temporary role that is more important than your journey to expand your awareness into higher and higher knowing of who you really are. Who are you really? You are a healer and a creator. And the more you heal the traumas and the dramas of your life, the more you'll be able to experience life in a way that you really, really want to. And this idea about not being worthy and not being lovable falls away because, again, there's nothing more important than your expansion. Number 3, you've got to be able to forgive. It is the number 1 thing that will keep you back from your expansion and your ability to practice the powers of healing and creating. Now, if you love the video, please like, comment, and share. You can also subscribe to my email list for lots more goodies on healing and creating a life you love. You can find that subscription in the description of this video below.